All right, welcome to another edition of CEO Unplugged. I'm Scary Jones from Elvis Duran and the Z100 Morning Show. I'm smiling ear to ear because we've done CEO Unplugged before, but you know, I'm really excited for something like this because it does so much for the environment. It does so much for society. It's a win-win-win. Check all the boxes because I want you to meet Frank Reig. He's a CEO and founder and co-founder of Revel. Revel. Just, I mean, when you think of the word Revel, what comes to mind for you, Frank?
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. When we were thinking about the name of this company,
Yeah.
we kept going back and forth. I can tell you right now, we had some pretty terrible names at the onset. I think Vamoto was one of them. Terrible.
Okay.
And my co-founder said, Frank, what do you feel when you're on a moped? And I was like, oh, it's a hell of a lot of fun, and you can't help but smile. So then he went to his phone and went to like synonym.com or something and typed in fun. And guess what popped up?
Revel.
To revel in something. To have a, yeah.
Now
like
explain
that's
to
how,
everyone.
that's how we decided on the name.
I think that's amazing, and that's how it should be done, organically,
Yeah.
grassroots. Explain what Revel is, what this company does, and what I mean. You guys are in a couple of spaces because we could ride on a Revel, or we could ride in a Revel, right?
I mean, if you think about high level, what's the mission of this company? The mission of this company is to accelerate the EV transition by building the infrastructure and services that make it easy to go electric. What the hell does that mean in reality, right? What that means in reality is we started out on accelerating the EV transition in the two-wheeled space. Launched shared electric mopeds here in New York in 2018.
Yep.
Through 2021, expanded that business to multiple markets, 6,000 mopeds across the country, New York, San Francisco, DC, Miami. Starting last year, though, we extended that mission, what we do here at Revel, to the four-wheeled sector. So we launched a fully integrated, all-electric, all-employee rideshare service with 50 Tesla Ys last summer.
Yes.
We paired that with the largest fast charging station for cars in North America, right here in Brooklyn last summer.
Yep.
And what we've been doing over the last year is expanding that service. So now we're at several hundred Model Ys here in New York. We're going to be launching additional large-scale charging stations here in New York. And I can tell you right now, we're looking at other markets as well. So it's an exciting.
You are revolutionizing your. It has Revel has that word in it. Revel and revolutionize. I see where you could be going with this in the future.
You know, we made a lot of mistakes building this company, but I think naming it was not one of them.
No, naming it is perfect. It's spot on because you're turning the entire industry on its ear, right? Because first of all, the move to EV, I mean, it's natural. It's something we all want and need at this point, at this stage of the game. The fact that you're doing in the rideshare space, right, with using Teslas, which, by the way, I had the pleasure of riding in one recently. I took my first Revel ride. I reveled home. You like that? I like to use it as a verb. Yep. That's when you own the space. I will tell you that it was. I thought my ride the entire time. I'm like, wow, this is really great because it's a nice, clean ride. Quiet, and it's, you know, you're in a Tesla. I had the honor of riding in a Tesla, and for pretty much the same rate as other ride shares. So, but I felt like I was doing something good for the environment at the same time.
Yeah.
Now, you know, for people that are watching or hearing this for CEO Unplugged, I could tell you that they are growing, they are expanding because I was onto your app the very minute that it said coming soon. And I watched how it went from just a small area of Midtown Manhattan to most of Manhattan and then all of Manhattan. And now you're in the outer boroughs, moving toward Brooklyn and Queens pretty soon. Rumor has it, maybe other states. Is that true?
I think what you're hitting on here too is because we control every piece of this business. We control the vehicle. The driver's an employee, not a gig worker. They're a W-2 employee. We control the infrastructure, we control the tech, we control the brand.
Yep.
So we're able to provide, honestly, to someone like yourself, a free product upgrade for the same price as the incumbents. You know exactly what you're going to get. It's going to be a Tesla Y, an electric vehicle. You know it's going to be
riding in style. You're in a Tesla.
It's an employee driver.
Right.
So it's more than just the environmental benefits. You're actually
Sure.
employing New Yorkers here in this city.
Right.
So I think for most users of the product right now, this is a slam dunk. If I'm in New York, why am I using any other rideshare product?
I don't know why. And I tell myself the same thing. Anytime I have a chance to grab a Revel, that's where I've been going lately. It's a no-brainer. Now, you didn't found this company. This is not just you on your own. You have a co-founder, a guy by the name of Paul Suey. How did you meet him, and what are the benefits of founding a company with a partner as opposed to you on your own?
So Paul Suey has just been integral to this entire business. There's something about a co-founder relationship that's really special. It's basically another marriage, honestly, because you're with that person 24/7, 365, 7 days a week. And it's the person that you go through every up and down with in order to build a business, because every business has a lot of up and downs, especially in the first few years. I met him actually in a professional setting first. We worked together at our prior job for about 2 years, which I think was the perfect way to become co-founders.
Where'd you guys work?
A company called Gerson Lerman Group, GLG, was within the consulting world, specifically the energy sector for hedge funds. Another reason why our sort of eyes were started to be opened to this whole world, this EV transition, and why we launched this company. But we worked together for 2 years in another setting professionally and became best friends, as opposed to being best friends and then trying to work together.
Yes.
It was sort of the perfect transition. And he's our COO, leading rideshare and infrastructure right now here at Revel.
Yeah. You met him in a professional space and you knew that that's how it was going to be, that kind of marriage, as opposed to growing up with somebody who may not have, sometimes, we don't, our friends that we grow up with are not the best people to be in business with.
I agree 100%.
Right.
Although I love all the folks I grew up with.
Right. So you guys, there's a lot of checks and balances, right? With the way you guys, bounce ideas off each other for what's next, right?
We have a very similar, let's say, moral compass, values compass, which really helps. I think at the end of the day, we always kind of come to the same decision, even if maybe we disagreed at first.
Yeah.
He's a chemical engineer by training. I'm a policy person, government person. So I think our brains are a little different, which helps attack different problems and kind of like, what is the right way to figure out a problem? Because that's all startups are problems. You just got to figure out the problem and get to the next problem.
Yeah.
So it's working really well.
So, I noticed you guys had a huge $126 million capital raise earlier this year. I mean, there's got to be big plans for that, right?
We are really fortunate. Our last round was led by Toyota, so the largest car manufacturer in the world. And now this current round, the one you just mentioned, was led by BlackRock, the largest asset manager.
Right. So obviously there are big plans to expand, right? Because that's usually what that means when you do a capital raise. For those that don't know, it's like, everybody pools money together and, they take the company to the next level.
Absolutely. We will definitely be expanding in the months and years ahead here.
Right.
A lot of that investment is going to go to our rideshare product with the Teslas. A lot of that investment is going to go to the infrastructure side of the business. We're going to have a lot more to announce shortly around infrastructure, both in New York and other cities. So it's exciting. It gives us the right capital partner, the right investor. I think obviously the best investor in the world. Right. And they have a very long-term time horizon.
Well, let me be here right here on this podcast and say, I want to be your number one champion and your brand ambassador. I want to scream from the mountaintops about and do a campaign with you. Because I'm so excited because I live in Jersey City and then I'm from Brooklyn and I'm always spending time in Manhattan. So I'm traveling all over the place and especially around Manhattan with meetings up and downtown. And I want so badly to be here at the beginning of this and to let people know why it's the better decision. So yes, you have the box checked for your investors, and let me be one of the faces and voices for you guys. I'm just saying, I'm getting excited about this, as you can see.
And that kind of enthusiasm, I think, is what's carried this company from day one. Yeah. Even with the moped product, I think we've always had a core set of users that just love what we're doing.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, talk a little bit about the moped side of it, because I've been talking a lot about, you know, the ride share portion of it. What kind of, you know, what do you see in the moped world where people would choose to ride one of these as opposed to being, you know, just I just want to just, what kind of person would ride the moped versus the kind of person that would ride like me and just relax and say, I just want to be in the air conditioning car. You do the driving.
I think it's a lot of the same people, honestly.
It is, huh?
Yeah. You know, we have over 500,000 moped users just in New York City.
Wow. That's
Over
awesome.
500,000 users just in New York City. So as a founder, it's really satisfying to know you've already changed transportation in New York City once, right? If you went to someone in 2018 and said, company's going to launch shared electric mopeds on the streets of New York, you probably would have said, no way, that's never happening. That's going to fail. Well, guess what? It didn't. 500,000 people use the product.
Well, so it started as a moped sharing company. You could have ended it right there and just literally just went crazy and the blanket the U.S. with mopeds. What made you decide to go into to make it like a duality to this? Now you have, you know, with the ride share portion of it. Like what clicked in your head?
What clicked in my head is you see all this marketing from name whatever company you want. All they do is talk about the EV transition in the 2030, 2040 timeframe.
Right.
I don't care about what you're doing in 2030 or what goal you're going to hit supposedly by 2030. What the hell are you doing in 2022? That's all I want to know about. So as a founder, as a CEO of a company within the electric vehicle space, I was so frustrated with all of these companies putting all these marketing slogans out there and doing absolutely squat right now.
Fascinating though that you use, because most companies would say, we are focusing on this one thing and this product and that's it. And then we're going to be the best of this. And then while you're doing that, great, all of a sudden you go off into this direction and say, and we're going to be the best at this part of it too. So I think that was a very bold move. And it's so far, you know, appears to be the right move.
Yeah. We've always had a ethos at Revel where we control the entire sort of business. Right? With mopeds, we built the charging infrastructure. We would swap the batteries in those mopeds. We built the tech. We built the brand. You control the vehicle.
Yeah.
You got to control every aspect of your business. I was looking at rideshare and thinking, okay, you have charging companies. You have Silicon Valley tech companies that want to be asset light and just match supply and demand. It's a great recipe for nothing to get done. Right? There is an avenue here called the EV transition to really bring ride share into the future, but do it today and do it right now. And that's exactly what we're doing. So we just saw an opportunity because you have all these incumbents sleeping and we're going after it. Yeah.
Why New York City though, to launch the company? I mean, I remember being in Nashville a couple of years ago and there was a local company there that was starting a ride share for, with Teslas for EV. And I remember the driver saying, yeah, we have about 7 or 8 cars. And we wanted to start this thing nice and slow, and a city like Nashville is the right fit, or one of those middle market, like Midwest areas. You said, screw that. I'm going to the #1 market, the busiest traffic, the most chaotic, and the most expensive to run cost-wise, right? Why New York? Why did you decide to just start right here?
We were talking about this for the interview. Where were you born? Brooklyn.
I was born in Brooklyn.
Where was I born? Staten Island.
Staten Island.
Why the hell am I going to Nashville? Come on.
All right, I get it. I get it. Yeah. Okay, I understand.
We're going to build this business in New York. This is where we're from. Take a lot of pride in that.
Were there naysayers and be like, no, you shouldn't start in New York. You should really go to Pittsburgh. You should go to Cincinnati. And what did you tell them?
That's part of being a startup founder. You have to go with your gut sometimes. You have to realize what you want to build and go build it. Take advice, but at the end of the day, you got to make that decision.
How often do you ride like in either one, the moped
Constantly.
or the what?
Constantly. I rode a moped to the office here this morning. I think I have a meeting later today. I'll probably take a ride share there. I'm constantly using both products.
Why is what sets? I mean, obviously, I think we may have covered this, but what maybe reiterate it? What sets Revel's ride share apart from the other ride shares?
It's simple. It is a reliable, consistent product. You know exactly what you're getting. It's not going to be a beat up Toyota Camry blasting music when you get in, and they're not going to run the AC. No, you know exactly what you're getting. It's going to be a clean car because you control that vehicle. It's cleaned up every shift. You know it's going to be a Tesla Y. You know it's going to be an electric vehicle. You know the driver is actually an employee going to be paid a stable wage and not being taken advantage of. It's kind of like guilt-free rideshare.
Number one complaint as a passenger in other ride shares, sitting there listening to them gripe my entire ride about how much these other companies take. And the fact that you guys are being really fair with these, I love that. I really do. Talk for a minute about, again, it's a new concept to a lot of people, but the super hub when it comes to charging and charging stations or street chargers. Explain, because some people may not even understand the technology.
Yeah. So very quick tutorial here. There's really 3 types of charging. There's level 1, which is essentially an electric vehicle you plug into your wall outlet in your garage. That'll literally take 4 days to charge a full battery. It takes an incredibly long period of time. Then there's called level 2. It's a little bit faster. You'll see that at like a Whole Foods or a Wegmans or a Target, where it's more an amenity. It's not really infrastructure. It still takes 8-10 hours to charge your car. It's an amenity. And then there's level 3 fast charging. And that's what Revel does and what we do exclusively. And that's what there is literally none of in a city like New York. So if you have a Volkswagen ID4 or you have a Polestar or a Ford Mach-E, any of these new electric vehicles that aren't Tesla, you basically have 0 options to fast charge publicly in a city like New York, which is kind of crazy. The infrastructure isn't there, right? A city of 3 million vehicles, we're supposedly by 2030, 2035, all those vehicles are going to be electric, and there's not a public fast charger in sight.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. So when we think about infrastructure, we think about scale as well.
Yeah.
So any public fast charger that currently exists right now, if you might find one, there'll usually be 1 or 2. Okay, so if you're an electric vehicle owner, you pull up to that charger, and guess what? One of the plugs is broken. The other one is blocked by a Nissan Altima. It is a terrible charging experience. It's terrible. So when we think about charging, every site that we're building, we really look for sites that have 20 plus fast charging stalls. So it's a sort of size of infrastructure that we're building that is really like 10x anything out there. So our first site was 25 fast charging plugs right in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, largest site in North America for any type of vehicle to use. And every site in our pipeline is going to be pretty significant like that. And we're going to be making some announcements soon. So really building infrastructure at scale in the urban core of cities like New York and other cities like it. And we're doing it now.
Yeah. What are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned being a startup founder?
How much you have to learn. I think one thing as a startup founder, any CEO growing a business, you better stay humble and bring a lot of humility to everything, because you realize how often you're wrong, how often you need to listen to your people more. You just got to stay humble, bring lots of humility, actively listen, and realize you have a lot to learn. I would say that's probably the biggest one.
How many people do you have in your company currently here in, where are we? We're in August of 2022 when we recorded this, in case you're seeing this 2 years from now.
Yeah. If you include all of our rideshare drivers, we have pushing 700 employees right now.
Right. And they don't, you guys own the vehicles, they drive their employees. So that's another thing. It's not like they're using their personal cars. So there's quality control here.
Absolutely. All they have to do is show up and drive. That's it. And guess what? If there's a flat tire during their shift, they're still getting paid, right? It's a completely different model. So we're fast becoming one of the largest employers in Brooklyn, honestly. With us having close to 700 employees now. And that's only going to.
I got to call my parents and tell them to download the app.
Please do.
Not for the mopeds.
Hey, there's nothing better when I see, an older couple on a Revel moped going to dinner. It just,
it warms your heart, doesn't it?
It does. It's not just for young people. It's everybody.
I ask this to everybody and all CEO Unplugs. Where do you see the company in the next 5 years? Like, where do you see it? What's your vision?
Yeah. For us right now, it is really supremely focused on scaling rideshare and fast charging infrastructure in the biggest cities here in North America. So when you talk about where are we in 5 years?
Yeah.
We're in 6 to 8 of the largest markets in North America. We have built out the largest fast charging network in each of those cities by far. And we're owning every electric rideshare ride in that city. Right? That's where we are.
That's great. I love it. Lofty goals, but definitely attainable.
Yeah.
Frank Reig, it's been awesome talking to you. It really has. It's been a pleasure. And I wish you nothing but continued success as the company grows. And I want to thank you for being here today. If people want, they could download the app. Revel is that nice baby blue color. All the cars are baby blue. I love that. And the website is
GoRevel.com.
GoRevel.com. Thanks for hanging out today.